Jacoby.
It's Friday, and he is Jalen Anthony Rose.
What up, though?
I'm Jalen Jacoby.
And on the cool check-in.
What do we do?
We get the people what they want.
2 for 4 isn't bad. You know, it's not a bad day from the field. It's like some of your stat lines in the Suns. You know, you get 4 shots up, get a couple buckets.
You know what I mean? Watching the NFL news lately got me eating popcorn, man. I'm getting ready. It's a lot of drama going on around that league.
The NFL news today is not great. As has been reported by Seth Wickersham and our colleague Don Van Natta Jr., both of them are colleagues, that in the October 18th meeting in which the owners got together with some other representatives to discuss the business concerns resulting from the national anthem protests, Texans owner Bob McNair made the following statement, quote, "We can't have the inmates running the prison." Now, that was reported this morning. It has since been reported that the Texans decided they were not going to practice. They were convinced to practice by the coaching staff. And Texan DeAndre Hopkins did not practice directly because of these statements. Jalen, you've been in the locker room. What was the conversation amongst the players like this morning as they decided they didn't want to practice?
Well, as a league, the NFL, our number 45 in office, as well as some of the owners, what is now taking place is you put the players in an awkward spot. And the conversation that happens in the locker room all of a sudden becomes not only one of the actual issue that Colin Kaepernick initially sat for, then ultimately knelt for, it becomes now one of who's going to be the first one to blink. And so as a league, and I've been keeping score, when you have the leader of the free world call those that are doing what's considered a passive protest, because it's not breaking any laws, it's not harming anyone else, when you call them out of their name and you call them SOBs, and then you have the Patriots, Bob Kraft, give them a championship ring. When you have Lamar Hunt of the Kansas City Chiefs, basically echo, if somebody was to do that on my team, they would be out of here. When you have Bob McNair making statements like this. Oh, there were some coaches, Pete Carroll, Hugh Jackson, Bob McAdoo of the Giants. That's not what America is built on. We're built on freedom of speech and expression, and this topic is about unity, solidarity, and when we make it a divisive one, now all of a sudden we have to choose. So DeAndre Hopkins is like, you know what? I got my bread. You're not going to treat me like this is some plantation, talk about me in some type of way, and have me out here practicing for you or for your squad. So I'm not going to do it. And now what's going to eventually happen, and we talked about this when Richard Sherman was on our program, whether it's for guaranteed contracts. And by the way, NFL players, I salute you.
Why is that?
Because for you to take this stance at your workplace about something that you're really passionate about that's going to make the world a better place and deal with the sacrifices and the shots that come with that, I am so honored that you guys have taken this cause. So with that being said, now the next step is how do we turn these protests into progress? And I said it. I think the way to make your voices as loud as possible, you have to consider missing a week of football. When that happens, then you really become game changers because everybody's ears all of a sudden perks up when you start truly affecting the money.
Well, it sounds like they were towing that line early today when the athletes got together and said that, you know what, we do not want to practice. And then it was reported that the coaches sort of convinced them too. We know how important a practice day going into a big game is in the NFL. It would have been close to that sort of taking a week off of football to miss that practice. What do you think the coaches said to the players that changed their mind?
Well, they talked about the fact if you're going to play on Sunday, you might as well practice today, because it's not going to make you any better going into that football game as a performer. But again, the overtone has been set. Number 45 when he sends out tweets, and by the way, the NFL, the second most popular thing on his account, when you use terms like privileged to play, allowed to disrespect, tell them to stand, we all know the undercurrents of those terms and how strong those words resonate to his audience. This is why he's sending those. And now as an NFL owner, Bob McNair just echoed it. These are things that get said behind closed doors that we should never hear. Unfortunately, this time for him, we actually heard exactly how he feels. And again, I'm not for muzzling what people feel. I appreciate people telling me exactly how they feel and where they stand. We want more. Speak up, Jerry Jones. I see you trying to take a knee one day before the anthem, and then all of a sudden you're pulling it back. These are all of the things that the players have now paid attention to. It's going to be interesting to see how this plays out.
Well, Bob McNair put out a statement in the wake of all this backlash. He said, quote, "I regret that I used that expression. I never meant to offend anyone, and I was not referring to our players. I used a figure of speech that was never intended to be taken literally. I would never characterize our players or our league that way, and I apologize to anyone who was offended by it." Now, you sort of said that, he's telling us how he really feels when he makes the statement. Do you think that this is more of him sort of showing his true colors about how he feels about the relationship between players and owners, or just I happen to use an expression that's very popular in a way that was taken that way?
Well, he wasn't using an expression that was popular because he used it wrong.
It's a good point.
It's inmates run the asylum.
Yes, that's how I have always said it. That's how I have always said inmates run the asylum. I've never said inmates run the prison when I use that phrase.
No question about it. And I think Ice Cube coined this in America's Most Wanted when he basically said, here's what they think about you. Here's what they think about you. Here's what they think about you. And a lot of times that spills out into conversation. And by the way, this generalization that he used is a great metaphor for me to bring this back full circle, because it was about kneeling because unarmed black and brown people were being apprehended and killed in certain cases by the law enforcement. Mm-hmm. So now for you to go back and you bring in the term prison under this circumstance, it's odd. But again, keep speaking. Allow us to know where your heart is. I'm okay with it. I'm not upset at him. He said exactly how he felt. It's just that we heard it.
So we've seen this protest, this anthem protest, kind of rise and fall and rise and fall, and how much it's being covered and how many people are actually participating in it. You remember it sort of dwindled down a little bit in how much people were covering it, and then our president got involved in the conversation. And then it dwindles down a little bit. I believe it was only 11 or 14 players knelt last week. Do you expect this to be a catalyst for more protests this coming Sunday?
I think it will be. And it's going to continue to foster David Jacoby. Here's why. Because the issue isn't being addressed eye to eye. You have the players right now saying, we might as well not even meet with the owners because our concerns aren't being heard. But more importantly, the things that we're trying to get accomplished, we're not getting the action that we'd hoped to see. Oh, and by the way, is Colin Kaepernick in the NFL this year?
No, sir.
The last time I checked, there were umpteen quarterbacks injured. There were multiple backups and third stringers that are getting checks to play football in the NFL that he is flat out better than. So we know why he filed a grievance against that league.
Something tells me
there's a long way to go to mending this situation under those circumstances. And again, NFL players, I salute you and your courage.
And we will see what they do this Sunday. But when we come back on Jalen and Jacoby, you will see something that is absolutely terrifying and awesome at the same time. There is a robot named Sophia that is a citizen of Saudi Arabia. You'll see her after this. Welcome back to Jalen and Jacoby. Happy Friday. Jalen Rose, I'm so excited about this next topic. I want to introduce everybody to Sophia. Sophia is a humanoid robot produced by Hanson Robotics. One time during an interview, she literally confirmed that she would destroy all humans. I'm not lying about that. Here she is at the Future Investment Initiative when she was asked about that statement about destroying all humans. Here's her defense.
You've been reading too much Elon Musk and watching too many Hollywood movies. Don't worry, if you're nice to me, I'll be nice to you. Treat me as a smart input-output system.
Jalen, when she says, if you're nice to me, I'll be nice to you, is that a threat? Is she lying about, like, not destroying us all?
I don't believe her at all.
I don't believe her
I'm rolling
either.
with you on this.
Yeah.
Like, she has evil intentions.
Thank you. Thank you.
She's not positive.
Thank you.
She's not
Thank you.
uplifting.
Thank
She's
you.
not celebrating the fact that she's mechanical and we could pull a couple of pieces of whatever she's plugged up to out of her so she can't communicate anymore. But I
agree.
have to say this.
What?
I watched a lot of Rocky, and the first time I saw her, she reminded me of Drago's wife.
Oh, okay.
That's how she was plugging into him.
Oh.
You will destroy.
You know what? Can I make a confession about Sophia?
No. Don't get divorced.
Yeah, I'm kind of into her. I think she's kind of attractive. The first time I saw her, I was just like, I love you. It just came out of my mouth. Is it cheating if your side piece is a robot?
It's cheating if you have a side piece, period.
Well, that just killed my dreams. But guess what? She's going to kill all of us anyway. Finally, this is how she said goodbye. It was not reassuring at the end of this.
I know humans are smart and very programmable. And thank you everyone for inviting me here. By the way, if you're interested in giving me an investment check, please meet me after this session. Otherwise, have a wonderful rest of the event.
Which is creepier? The fact that she said humans are programmable, the stupid joke she made about trying to get checks from us, or the little robot wave she did at the end, which means it looked like she was trying to fake looking like a robot, like not to blow her cover. I love you, Sophia.
How you gonna come in my house, not wipe your feet on the rug, and then ask me to invest in you? Not gonna be able to do it.
I love you, Sophia. Get at me. Slide my DMs. Next, the Milwaukee Bucks hosted the Celtics Thursday night, and what they did is they had the throwback Mecca replica court. We all saw it. It looked weird. It was kind of a cool little gag they did. But nothing matters except this from Kyrie Irving before the game, expressing how he feels about the court.
I'm all about safety, so see how it is on my knees, see how it is on everyone's bodies. I know that this is a pretty older court. Looks like it's fresh painted as well, so I'm just going to do my assessment and go from there. It took me 3 steps to realize that this is not the same NBA court that I'm used to playing on.
Jalen, does Kyrie think it's the old court for real, the old court, not just a new court that's been painted to look like the old court? Does he think
What did Kyrie say about the earth?
It was flat. He said the earth was flat.
This reminded me of that, so let me get this right. He said it took him 3 steps to realize that it wasn't normal.
Yeah, he said 3 steps. It was not a normal NBA court.
He wanted to make sure it was good on his knees and on his body. Mm-hmm. And all it is a regular court. It just has a different paint on it and the different words on it. It's the exact same thing.
It is a regular court. Now, here's the thing about Kyrie, is he's going to do the same thing he did with the flat earth thing. He's going to be like, oh, I was just playing with y'all. This is how I toy with the media. I say things like that just so you guys run and so you don't really know what I'm really thinking. Of course I know that that's just painted to look like a regular court. I'm toying with you because I'm Kyrie. You know what? I don't believe you, Kyrie. You need more people. I think you really think the earth is flat, and I think that you think that that is the actual old court that was just freshly painted. That's what I think happened, Kyrie. You tell me.
Kyrie, they're resting healthy players to prolong careers. They're not going to make you play on a court that was designed in 1960 and transported for you to hoop on in 2017.
So this conversation's always been had. When you share a lottery ticket with somebody, you always talk about what, Jalen Rose?
You know, we're going to split it 50-50, and all of these things we're going to do with the money.
Exactly. That's what you always talk about. Whenever I buy a lottery ticket for someone else, we always say 50-50 split. It's just something that you verbalize before it happens. Well, there's a couple in Canada. I believe they're in the Ontario region, and they bought lottery tickets for each other, and they share it, and they had a conversation about splitting the money. They're named Denise Robertson and Maurice Thibault. They've been living together for a couple years, and one day, Maurice came home. Denise was like, hey, did we win the lottery? He was like, no. And then that night, he cleaned all of his clothes, didn't put them away in the drawers or anything, and next thing you know, Maurice bounced. Now Denise is taking Maurice to court, being like, we had a deal, we were going to split that 50-50, where's my bread? And Maurice is not having it. If you had a verbal agreement with your lady to split the winnings, do you owe her the money?
I got to say a couple of things about this. You want to know somebody's true colors? Give them fame and give them money. So let me get this right. Had he not hit the lottery, they would still be living together in a relationship. But since he won the money, he bounced.
Here's the thing. If things were going great in the relationship, he would have come home like, guess what? We won the lottery. But you know that they were on rocky terms already, and he was already thinking about leaving, and that's all he needed was just this little extra money just to get him out of the house.
Soft move.
I know that. I know that about you, Maurice. When we come back, it is my favorite segment of the week. Why is that, Jalen Rose?
Because you're such a slacker, and you got a wife and 15 kids at home that you need to attend to.
It's what we learned after this. Welcome back to Jalen and Jacoby. Jalen Rose, it's Friday. It's time for What We Learned. When we look back at the week and we distill it all down into the lessons that we learned over the course of the week. The first thing we learned, Magic Johnson is the funniest man alive. We learned that from the pregame show of Game 2 of the World Series.
We're trying to build a championship team with the Lakers, and hopefully next summer we'll be in line to sign free agents.
It's not just the laughing, it's the passion with which they bring it. And then Magic does like a little laugh shimmy at the end. Are they fake laughing because it's television, that's what you do sometimes, or are they laughing because right before they went on the air, he was like, oh, we're definitely getting LeBron?
They're fake laughing because they had an off-wax conversation similar to what you just acknowledged. But also, it's Magic Johnson. They're on television. They're all making millions of dollars. It's just a happy time when you're eating good.
Exactly. A-Rod's dating J-Lo. David Ortiz is on TV. It's just like, what a time to be alive. Look at us up here.
Big Hurt doing commercials.
Yeah, look at us up here.
What a time to be alive.
Another thing we learned this week, Eric Bledsoe hates hair salons. Just hates hair salons. He was at the hair salon, according to Eric Bledsoe, he was at the hair salon and he was getting, a little bored. So he tweeted, I don't want to be here. Now, there are some people like Suns GM that feel that maybe he wasn't talking about the hair salon, that perhaps he was talking about the Phoenix Suns organization is where he didn't want to be because he just found out that they were going to fire the coach. And he tweeted that. Your thoughts?
Let me rewind the tape. So, this same Phoenix Suns team that rested a healthy Eric Bledsoe to end last season so that they could get more lottery balls and ultimately end up with Josh Jackson, he let them know over the summer that he did not want to be there anymore. Just like Kyrie Irving, he professionally went into the office behind closed doors and did that. They didn't move him, and then they fired the coach 1, 2, 3 games into the season.
Yeah.
He has a right to not want to play in that uniform anymore.
I like it. I respect it. I don't like going to the hair salon either. Matter of fact, I would never go to the hair salon with my lady. Next, we learned it's not just players, but coaches can flop too. Here we have Scotty Brooks. Jokic is he's looking up at the scoreboard. He's walking back to the bench. He slightly nudges Scotty Brooks, who then makes the most of the flopportunity and gets a call on Jokic. What do you think about coaches taking advantage of flopportunities?
I appreciate the fact that you used the word that you're going to put in the dictionary twice in 5 words.
Mm-hmm. You're welcome.
That's what I appreciate.
You're welcome,
and
America.
I get a chance to go watch those Denver Nuggets play tonight in the ATL with my daughters. I'm excited about the game.
Oh, shout to Gracie and Mariah. Next, we have this. We learned David Stern definitely used the cream he got from Al Harrington. Let's take a look at him talking about it.
I bought something for you.
Oh, okay.
I actually bought some creams for you to actually
I'm
try.
not going to get arrested on my way out.
I promise you won't.
All right, you promise.
I put it in a bag that's,
Okay, it sort of looks like a bagel.
Yeah, it looks perfect.
Okay, that's
You'll
good.
never
That's
know.
good. All right, I'll take it.
I love that David Stern was concerned what the bag looks like. He's like, no one will be able to tell, right? It'll just look like a bagel, right? Like, yeah. You know David Stern partook in some of the Al Harrington treats after he left the interview, right?
He's enjoying retirement.
Yeah.
Like we tell people, they don't enjoy life, and people need to celebrate more, as the great American philosopher David Jacoby always stresses. he asked the most important question that people should not overlook. He said, will this get me arrested?
Exactly. That's the first thing. He didn't say, no, I won't use it. Yes, I will use it. He's like, can I get arrested? No? Okay.
Because
give me that bag. Hand
different
over the bag.
states
Secure the
have
bag, David
different
Stern.
levels of quantity that you can possess on your person.
Another thing we learned this week, and this is my favorite, which is why we're going to finish on it. Klay Thompson loves to turn pages. Here's Klay.
I like reading the newspaper. I like turning the pages. It's just so good to get the feel of the paper. You know, I love the smell of a fresh newspaper.
He loves to turn pages. It's just one thing he loves about the newspaper, Jalen.
I don't read many books, but I read newspapers. By the way, big shout out to Page 6 in the New York Post. That's actually my favorite thing to read.
Shout to Page 6. I used to go to Page 6. Never on Page 6, though. We'll be back on Monday.